where?
Let's get this party started. Jesus Christ, put me in lane 4, lad. Oh, it's close. Charles? Oh, it's close. Is it? Yeah, seems like it is.
Lovely.
Alright guys, welcome back to TDP HQ, aka my house. And welcome back to TDP Uncensored. This is the third episode that we've done. We're trying to do one every single month, and so far it's going well, but we're only 3 in, so there you go. This is February now that we're in, but this is kind of our first proper 2024 update in terms of stuff we've been up to, racing, sponsorships, contracts, freelance work, just a jumble of everything. If you've never seen this episode before, how it works is we just talk through some stuff that's been going on from both a professional and athletic point of view, give you a bit of an update, maybe give you some information that you are interested in and you've asked a question and we don't have time to answer it in one of our kind of premiere videos, essentially. The big news for this episode, of course, is that I've signed a contract with Hoka, which is really cool. We're going to delve into some details about that. What does a contract look like? What does it mean for me? How does it potentially change things? We're going to talk about my training camp in South Africa and how much things like that cost, how you might be able to do it, all the questions that you asked about that. We're going to recap some of the races. So earlier this week I was racing in France and in Czech Republic, how they went, what went wrong, what went well, overlay a bit of footage and stuff like that about those races and get Charlie's input because he was at those. And then we'll talk about future video ideas that are coming up, race schedule for the rest of the indoor season and bits and bobs like that. As usual, the video won't be very long. We've set a 25-minute timer as a maximum cut-off. So, yeah, that's the format for the video. And we'll delve straight into it, I think. Charlie, how's things? How are you doing? What's your kind of 2024 looking like so far?
It's been good. Obviously a good start to the year. France. Then you went off to Czech Republic as well. But I guess let's jump into contract stuff. First of all, sick news. Congrats.
Yeah.
But how did that come about? Obviously, you were in South Africa. There's training other Hoka athletes, but you've been wearing Hoka shoes progressively more and more for a while now, especially since the end of last year. How long has that been going on?
Yeah. So basically, how it works, and again, from like me and Charlie, have obviously been talking about this for ages of where we want the channel to go in the direction. And one thing has been like, okay, if I get to where I want to get to in athletics and start working with a brand and being more, of a professional athlete, what might that look like? And I got approached by Hoka in kind of the end of September last year. What you're up to, what's your situation, had a good summer track season, and we sort of stayed in touch, started wearing some of the shoes, raced in their shoes in Riga just because they were the ones that I thought were best, that I had out of like the On shoes I had, the Vaporflies I had. I just felt most comfortable in those. Obviously did well, and then just from there kind of picked up conversations and stuff like that. And I think the main question that people asked on Instagram when I did the little poll was kind of like, why Hoka? Were you speaking to any other brands? And like, what does kind of being pro entail? And honestly, it's not as, obviously it's really exciting and cool, but it's way more simple than you kind of may imagine. Essentially, you're paid an amount of money to represent a brand. What does that mean? It means, you being like the personality that you are. So, okay, yeah, I'm out here, I'm associated now with these brands, these products, things that I wear. Me as an athlete, so my performance, I'm hopefully going to achieve really good performances on the track and the road and cross country wearing a certain brand. So the value that they get back is, okay, yeah, fantastic, this is great. Like, we've got kind of a great brand ambassador to be out there, a sort of professional athlete. What I get in return is all of their resources and their support. So not only do I get some financial support, so all contracts look the same pretty much. You get your base salary, you get different types of bonuses for performances and wins and all this sort of stuff. And you get that kind of financial package to help support you and alleviate other work that you've got going on. But then also you can tap into all of their resources. Who else runs for Hoka that you might be able to go away and train with? So for example, I was in South Africa training with some other Hoka athletes. What kind of physio and medical sort of aspect and resources might they be able to tap into? What coaches do they have connections with that you might be able to go and train or learn from? And all the different things that come from having the support of a brand is sort of the main reason to go with them. It's not just to tick a box and go, I get free shoes now. Like, that's great because in the grand scheme of things, that helps, but it's not a kind of a sort of a massive thing. And me and Charlie spoke about like what other people's kind of contracts might look like or different relationships that people have with brands. And there was a few different ways that we could have potentially gone, not specifically with individual brands, and it's not for me to sit here and say, oh, I spoke to this person and didn't speak to this person, whatever. But there's certain brands out there where they say only make clothing, for example, so you can still wear whatever shoes you want, and that's an option that some athletes might take. Some might go down the route of actually not signing to one individual like brand as a pro athlete, but working with several other different brands on different brand deals to kind of get a package together. But for me, I just thought going the traditional route, having amazing support, really attractive package in terms of what they offered, great people that they're training with, and only certain things I can say now, but the future plans for what that sort of like company is going to evolve in and what they're going to try and set up in the UK is really exciting as well. So from myself and Charlie's point of view, I think we were attractive to them to show some kind of content element. We can obviously, having this transparent conversation, not many athletes sit down and explain why they've done stuff like this, but then also as you follow us through going to races, training camps, different things that get set up or don't get set up, you'll be able to kind of see how the story evolves of me going from sub-elite athlete, breaking through, now entering kind of professional athletics, and how that might look similar, how it might look different, and sort of progress from there.
Nice. How are you finding it? Because we've spoken before, especially before races. We've always said, and we said it in videos before, the day before races is like the most empty day in the world. Everyone's just chilling. But there are people that live like that, like 7 days a week, 365.
Yeah.
How are you finding now labelling yourself as a professional athlete? You're obviously still working. How's that going to look? Because I don't think you're the type of person that's going to start living like a monk and just be like, right, I'm going to go to sleep for 4 hours a day
good,
in the middle of the day.
Good point. So a couple of other things to gloss over is I'm still with the same coach. So Nick will still continue to coach me. I'm not moving anywhere else. That's something I really want to stick with, at least through 2024, hopefully forever, essentially, and keep doing what I'm doing. So that doesn't really change. How I train and who I train with doesn't massively change. So I'm still here based in Cambridge, still training with CNC, my local athletics club, with all the guys there, as well as mixing in with other Hoka athletes and things like that, just where I either need a bit more specificity for certain events, or where people here who are doctors, lawyers, teachers can't have time off work all the time, me to be able to go and train with other people. From a work perspective, this is where it's most interesting. So a lot of people ask questions about like, oh, what are you going to do with more time and recovery and this and that, and this allows me the opportunity to go, right, I can just make running my primary focus, which is awesome. I can make sure that when I look at my weekly schedule, monthly schedule, plan out a year, I can go, right, running is a priority. So any holidays that I book, any, family arrangements here, or any sort of work things that I choose to do that are extra, all can now take second priority. Whereas before I would have to put them first, because I have to go, well, I need to pay the rent and the bills first before I can then go, okay, I'm going to spend this amount running or this amount of time traveling. So it's great to now have the ability to go, if I want, I can shut off everything and go, boom, I'm a runner, like, it's done, sort of thing. The other side of the coin is, one, as you can imagine, I'm not being paid £1 million a year, so there is also, I want to be able to earn some other money from other things, so we want to expand the content, work with more brand deals, try and earn money that way, other different various things that I've got going on. And for the last 3-4 years, I have worked really hard to build a business of, I work in digital marketing, I have clients that I've had really good relationships with. That's not something that I'm prepared to just totally throw out the window. Of course, I'm fully committed to running. I'm on this sort of Olympic dream. I want to try and achieve all the things that I want to achieve, but I don't want to throw away the rest of my life, if you see what I mean. So the way that I'm balancing that is, with the help of Charlie and various other things, is I'm trying to scale down my individual work outside of running, so the actual hands-on day-to-day stuff I'm doing, give myself the time to be able to not have to sit and do emails or this and that, and kind of take a step back, and then basically bring some other people on board, essentially employ some other people to be able to take on more responsibility. So that's something Charlie's interested in. Charlie has a really unique set of skills that I don't have, so it's fantastic to complement my business, because I can go, oh, actually, I can offer a way better service than I was by using his skills and being able to, bring him on board, which is fantastic. And same with a few other different bits and bobs. So I guess the answer is, yes, I'm still doing other stuff, and I'm not just sat here all day with my arms crossed going, oh, better wait till I run, and then wait again till I run. I'm still doing other things, but it's nice to have the pressure removed that actually, if I've got a big race that week, or if, I've got a big session tonight that I need to prepare for, I don't have to be all over the place trying to, do other bits of work, which can't be underestimated at all. That's kind of the main, key step in the development now, is being able to prioritise running. And call myself a runner, be able to say to Alice, my girlfriend, or whoever, like, I'm now being paid for it, like, this is my job, I need to take it as seriously as if I was going into an office and doing a job. So
nice.
Yeah, I'd say that's the main difference. From your perspective, is there any kind of, like, not concerns that you initially have, but like, what do you see the main kind of changes being from your side of things?
It's interesting, obviously, like a change in dynamic of your as you said, your primary focus. But for this to be successful, like, we're making no quiet fact of the way that the channel's grown has been predominantly because of your success in running last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I always joke with people, it's like, yeah, they're like, oh, that would be a really sick video. I'm like, yeah, it'll be sick if it runs well.
That's true.
So it's directly correlated to your success on the track to then how well we can make other parts of what we do successful. So you being able to focus on that more should hopefully keep your performances improving.
Yeah, I think that's a great point to make. So like that links nicely into kind of a little recap of what I've been doing recently. So a key thing to note is that if you want to grow a YouTube channel, then this is no shade on anyone, but 100% the best thing you can do is make... Well, no, if you want to grow it, is to make... Right now, either make marathon content, because marathon is the sexy thing in sport, like everyone's doing it, it's mass participation events, 50,000 people do London Marathon or Great North Run or whatever it is, whereas, you know, how many people can like relate to going and doing a 1500 meters on a track? Just not that many. So you can either do long distance kind of content, you can either make like what I would call amateur or beginner focused content. So again, like there's only certain people that will be interested in what the elite side of the sport is. Way more people can relate to smashing a parkrun record or doing a local 10k race or that sort of thing. Or I guess the third thing that you can do is make kind of tips / advice content, which is, you know, like how to run a faster this or how to do that. And like, we know that because we've put loads of effort into me going to like amazing races and the videos have done pretty well. And then we did like one workout video, which was like how to run a faster mile in 2024. And it's got way more views than anything we've done. So the balance we're trying to find is, like, we know it's going to be a slower progress to grow the channel and make this like a full, you know, all singing, all dancing enterprise by me being a professional runner. That hasn't actually helped the channel. If anything, it's actually regressed it, because it'd be way easier for us to go, I'm going to win this 10k, I'm going to do this, let's make all this how-to content. I'm sure Charlie would see a lot more views and it would go up in the world. But the niche that we're trying to carve, and I guess where we see a gap in the market, is actually someone going on this journey as a professional athlete and bringing you along to show you what is this kind of world like. And you might not know, not you individually, but like, you know, the audience out there might not know that that's content that they want to see or that they would find interesting. But if we can bring more people into saying, oh, actually, I didn't know indoor track worked like that, or that's really interesting to know, that's how his agent relationship works, and this is how a brand works, or I didn't know that this person paid for this. And if we can show you that part of the sport and then gradually introduce more characters on this channel and feature other pro athletes and sort of things that we've played around with, that's where we see the kind of benefit being. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out, that like me stepping forward in athletics is great and hopefully I can run faster and achieve more. But from a content point of view, it's actually quite counterintuitive. It's like, you know, not really what we should do if we want to make this a business. But obviously that's not the primary aim here. The aim is to kind of make things that we think is valuable. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's sort of a tie to where we are, and that was reflected in my sort of early season races, because I did a race in France where I ran a 3:57 mile, so it was a PB, it was good, but it's not quite the shape that I wanted to be in. The video wasn't like popping off basically, because I was like a little bit ill, I wasn't like buzzing, there wasn't loads of things to do, it was in the middle of nowhere, you couldn't really go and see things. And there was no clickbaity kind of title we could give it. It wasn't a race that you'd ever heard of. It was like a random mile in like the middle of France. But that is professional running. That was the World Indoor Silver Tour. That got me more ranking points and stuff than any other race that I've done. So in terms of performance level, it was one of the highest I've ever achieved. But from a content point of view and how we tell that story to you guys, a little bit more difficult. And then the same happened in STRAVA on Tuesday when I raced, which is in Czech Republic. I ran a 3:39 1500 meters. So if you've been a long time watcher of the channel, that was basically my whole goal for the outdoor season, was to try and run under 3:40. Boom, smashed it in January indoors, which is more difficult. But again, because we've reached that level and the expectations have changed, and now it takes, you know, bigger performances to say, smash this race, or got a PB, or representing GB. It's just a bit harder to try and find that kind of like value add in the content.
Yeah, I still think it was a really cool video to bring the audience who might not have seen indoor races, because we're talking outdoor track. We gained X amount of subscribers from there, and then we took them to cross country, and then we gained a few more. Now we've taken them to indoors. That's obviously not going to be as popular as outdoor track or a big race like Liverpool. So I think gaining those subscribers on new like mainstream races, like we know that outdoor track is going to be a big point for views this summer, hopefully. But if we can then take those and show them the newer parts, we're probably, the indoor races early in the season aren't going to be the best performing pieces of content, but we'll be showing them to the same
100%
to the diehard TDP fans, and the reception's been good in the comments anyway, of like people wanting to see the indoor stuff, and I think the race videos from indoors, they're just so much more chaotic. I enjoy them anyway. Yeah, it's no slight. Like, I think the video's still amazing. Like, it is still performing well. It's like our 4th or 5th most viewed video. Yeah.
I think it's just interesting how, like, the step to being professional, and professional again, what that means is such a like blasé term, but essentially being a supported athlete, having access to better races, hopefully my performance level going up. We want you to know we're making a massive effort to show you what the realities of that is like. If it's a shit race, if it's an amazing race, if something actually you might think is all paid for and is, you know, perfectly done, and actually I tell you like no, like athletes have to pay for this, or like this is how much we're taxed on this, or, you know, I'm trying to bring those realities. So over future videos, hopefully we can, you know, start feeding those things in, and we'd love for you in the comments to let us know like what elements of this lifestyle or of the professional running scene, what questions when you're watching TV do you think like, oh, I wonder how this works, or like where did they warm up and do this, or like any questions, however big or small or however personal or invasive you might think they are, just ask them. We obviously can't answer everything, but let us know in the comments, because that's the sort of information we're using to then inform our videos. So it's not just here's Callum before the race, here's him warming up, here's him racing, here's him after. It's like, oh, actually, Charlie, let's, you know, people are really interested in what it's like in the athlete hotel, or like if you share a room or whatever, let's make sure we feature that bit in the video. So please do let us know in the comments of this video any ideas you've got and stuff like that, because we'd appreciate that. That would help, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I think definitely a good start to your season anyway. I think from being there behind the camera as well, I hope you don't mind me saying, you did seem, obviously first race of the season, more nervous for that than some races last summer. Obviously you got in a bit of a roll. Also then on top of that, waking up on Sunday morning and being like, I actually don't know if I'm going to race. And if I'm perfectly honest, I didn't think you would. You said, I'm going to go for a nap, see how I feel.
Yeah.
And Alice and I were like, I don't think he's gonna. So it's hard to kind of create that energy in the like hype and build up in the video as well. But still, I think a good start. Considering all of those things.
Performance wise, I'm actually really pleased with it now. I've reflected. Like, what's crazy is since I've got back, so we're now on Monday, so it's exactly a week, 6 days since I raced. And like all my metrics on my watch in terms of like my HRV, my recovery score, everything's like gone up and up. I've done a workout on the track and I ran faster in the workout on a horribly windy Cambridge track pretty much by myself than I did in a race with some of the fastest athletes in the world. So my body clearly wasn't all systems firing. That being said, like you mentioned about nerves and stuff, I'm glad I got that kind of like, people call it a rust buster, or like the first race of the season out of the way. I'm glad I went, I did it, I practiced all the different elements of going through the call room, getting the nerves out of the way, all that sort of stuff. And I still actually ran pretty well. I got 2 PBs, which is like amazing. Just the expectation and the level and kind of really wanting to push through and doing an amazing performance is what's kind of why I've come away thinking like, what could have been. But it's a crucial part of any sort of progress, and I can't remember where I saw this thing. I said it to you the other day about your running, but it was like, if your bad days now are better than your bad days were last season or whenever you're comparing it to, then that's the best sign of progress. It's not about if your good days can be way better than they were, but if your bad days now are, you know, still better than what your good days or bad days would have been previously, then it's a good thing. So that's what we're rolling forward for now, and a week today. This week's Monday today. So this Saturday I'm going to be racing in Boston at Boston University Valentine Meet, which is actually where I first ever ran indoors 2 years ago when I was in America. Charlie's going to be coming along for that. Big financial investment. the university obviously don't pay any athletes to go there, so it's all off your own back to fund it and things like that. But one, we think it could be an awesome chance for me to race. It's obviously a fast track. It's a good like caliber of athlete and people there, and I really want one really good hard race to try and get a fast time before the UK Championships in 2 weeks' time. And second of all, we think it could be a great content piece. There's a lot of British athletes that are going over to try and run their respective qualification times, either for like a world indoors, like myself in the 1500, or a European outdoor standard in the 5K. It's just a crazy meet. Valentine has the record for the most ever sub 4 miles in one meet, and it pretty much breaks every single year. So I think it could be an awesome video for you guys to see, tap into an American and a UK audience, which is always great for us. But importantly, it's a performance-based decision. The difference between this year and last year, or now and the summer, is if this was 6 months ago or a year ago, I would have just been able to go myself and gone, right, I'm going, Charlie, sorry mate, like, we haven't got the facilities, I'm going to be able to go. But now, because I've got the extra funding from a professional contract, because this channel's grown a little bit, we now have the ability to go, actually, Charlie, yeah, it's in the budget, you come along, let's, you know, make a production out of it. So thank you for helping us get that opportunity, because it is really cool. And the more support we get, everything we make from here, pretty much, we reinvest back into more races and videos and camps and things like that.
Definitely. I think the plan for the content aspect anyway, we still need to dial this down, but the idea would be to potentially do something a little closer to the Liverpool style of like actually explain all the road relays, like explain the race itself. Why is this track special? Why are people travelling thousands of miles to go there? Who's in it? Rather than just Callum's here in France somewhere. So we're going to try and make it a little bit more of a storytelling piece rather than just another one of your races, because there'll be lots of those coming over summer. But I think this one will be special, make the most of it, because there'll be some crazy performances, no doubt. So it's important that we
and
cover all of them.
And from my perspective, my goal is to try and run 3:53.5 for the mile, which is the world indoor qualifying time, which means you kind of have to run about 3:35 or 3:36 for 1500. Like, that's the equivalent. That's the goal. That's what I think I can do it if I give it a good old shot, and that's kind of why we're going all in. Boston or bust, essentially, is what we're calling it, to go and try and get the time ahead of then the UK champs to try and make the world indoors team. But if I don't get it, I'll still be racing at the UK champs, still have a chance to become British champion and like race some of the best people in the country. And we'll be bringing all that to the channel as well. So I realise one thing, which is a bit short on time, but one thing we've not covered is like the training camp, South Africa, how much it costs, how you can finance it. What we'll probably do is package that up and use that in a separate video, either in the next TDP Uncensored, or I have got some plans to go away training and stuff like that. So perhaps we can do a little segment in there where we break down for you like what it was like as a place compared to some other places. For example, Charlie's trained in Kenya, I've not been there, so what are some comparisons, roughly how much things cost, how you might be able to fund it, best time of year to go, all that sort of stuff. So thanks for people that ask questions about that. Apologies that we don't have the time. If we make these videos too long, one, no one watches them, and two, it takes about 1 million hours to export the footage and the camera will just shut off. So any closing remarks, Charlie?
I just want to find out your headspace going into, like, this race this weekend is going to be fast. This kind of feels like, we mentioned it in episode 1, the period after MZ Mile last year when you were like, oh no, I know I'm fit, now let's roll. And you kind of feel like, because you were doing cross, now you've done indoors, you're kind of already in that middle distance rhythm. Do you feel like you're kind of in that bit, like, okay, no, I'm fit, like, let's just send it? I
think, again, this could be a whole long thing, but like, I think one thing I've learned, and I've talking to Nick, my coach, about this, is we know how to get me fit. What we haven't dialed in yet is how to get me sharp for races. And last year in the outdoor season, it took me 2 or 3. I had a bit of an injury, which is one thing, but it took me 2 or 3 races, maybe even 4 races, to kind of start clicking of like, okay, I'm in the race. This is the rhythm. This is what it feels like. And I feel like the last few weeks, having the 2 races where it's been like, hard efforts, then having a session which was probably one of the best or fastest sessions that I've done, I've had those 2 or 3 stimulus to be like, okay, now you can get in it. Obviously, everything's so much harder when you actually race it, but I'm so much more confident and ready to kind of go into it, feel, more prepared. So I think I can smash my PB. That's like the primary goal, is like, go run an amazing race that I'm proud of and just give it my best shot whatever will be. But if I can get a really good PB that I'm proud of, and if that can also be the world qualifying time, awesome. But yeah, these things are hard for a reason. But I'm not down in the dumps at all about how I was. I was more frustrated that I was a bit ill and my body wasn't where I wanted it to be. But equally, like, it's part and parcel of being an athlete. You can't just arrive on the world stage and be like, hey, I'm here, I'm going to run amazing every race. Like, these things happen. So 2 good season openers for me, a good video that we made out of it, which is always a bonus. And then, yeah, we'll go to Boston, hopefully feature some other British athletes. And there's the timer. Hopefully feature some other British athletes, tell bits of their story, show you what the atmosphere and stuff like that is about. And that video will be out a week from when you're watching this. So this is coming out on Wednesday the 7th, and then Wednesday the 14th, Valentine's Day, will be the video, if Charlie's not got plans with his girlfriend, but we'll see. All good?
Sick.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. We actually gained more subscribers from the last video than we have in our last 5. So I don't know if it's because I told you to subscribe or not, but if it was, thank you very much. Drop this video a like. Thanks for Pace Coffee for not sponsoring this, but sending me some coffee every month. Joel and the team are just nice blokes, so I thought I'd feature that. Great coffee. And yeah, see you in the next one.
Like,
Cheers.
comment, subscribe.
All that.